Hi everyone, it's Artis from Man Carpentry. Today I'm going to show you how to build a unit from start to finish. So what we're going to do here, we're going to take this out and draw slash table thing, and we're going to build a unit which will be sat on legs. So also we're going to have to make like end panels, if you like, and reason being because first of all you got a skirting there to get over, and secondly when you open your doors, if you go too tight, you know, if the walls aren't perfect, you would struggle to open them. And thirdly, when you make your unit, if the walls aren't level, which they 90% are not level, then you're gonna have a big gaps on the sides, because obviously your unit will have to be square for your doors and everything else, but walls won't be, so obviously we'll create the gap. So we'll do a basic unit with the shelf in the middle and shake style doors, which are going to be roughly that size, like a bottom panel. That's the idea. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do, and also we're gonna show you then how to fit units. Sorry, not units. How to fit the doors, how to mark out for doors if you got to fit doors into new cupboards or something like that. You know, depending obviously on hinges. But if you're gonna have hinges like I have, or at least the brand, because there are some which are slightly different offset, but you know, these ones should be all right. So yeah, we're gonna build that. We're gonna go downstairs, cut that, and then hope you're gonna enjoy it, and I'll catch up with you in a bit. So now I removed everything I need to remove. Now next step for me is to check how level these sides are. Obviously they're not superbly level. To be fair, I've seen worse. It's like 4 mil. Oh. Yeah, 3-4 millimeters this side. So the bottom's wider. Unfortunately, this is quite a bit, if you see, it's like 5 millimeters, and that's 4. So okay. So the measurement we'll take it from the point which is outmost, and then we allow 5 millimeters on here, so that will be our width. No, sorry, less 5 millimeters, because that wall runs that way, that wall runs that way, so they're not obviously level, which is, so we take it 9.1, it's 920, we'll take it 915 as the width. So other thing what we want to do, because customer has requested to have the top of the unit being in line with the panel here, so we'll just see if it's possible, because obviously I've done measurements the same, so when you look they run through, but obviously there could be some discrepancy in existing openings. hopefully they're not too far out and we can make it work or make it look like they do run through. I'll just double check that. So let's see. Well, yeah, actually, it's quite good to be fair. So that's good. So the overall height picked up. So this unit will be made in MDF, in moisture resistant MDF. I don't use any other MDF to be fair, only moisture resistant. As in this sort of climate, you know, you don't want to risk it really. Plus, if there is a roof leak of some sort or a plumbing leak, there's a chance that it won't get ruined, you know, if it's spotted on time or early-ish, because you know you can take some of the dampness. It's not water resistant, but it's moisture resistant. You need to keep that in mind. So now we're going to head downstairs and start cutting the unit. So what I do, what I would suggest you to do when you cutting for your units, first of all, if you can, request sheets being cut in half, lengthways. What it will allow you to do is struggle less, you know, more manageable sort of size, because quite often when you do units, you don't have obviously a space to really do it, and you imagine if you got 8x4 sheet, you want to turn around with it and whatnot, it just won't work out. It's just, it's heavy as well, it's about 40 kilos, so that's another thing. So you could cause more damage than good. So yeah, if you can't get it cut, I would advise you to cut it once it's delivered to your job. Just do it outside before you even carry inside. If you can, set up trestles. It'll take you half an hour, but you know, it'll make your life much easier. So the first step I do, I always put 2 sheets together, always 2. Reason being because then your sides and everything is the same when you cut, and it's quicker as well. If you imagine you got, you know, 1 to cut after another or 2 together. So that's the first thing I do when I cut unit. And so I have 2 sheets together. I'll cut from both edges. I'll cut 5mm from one edge and then whatever measurement I need, and that is to make sure it's a parallel and clean cut. So yeah, without too much talking, let's crack on. Now that we cut our width of the boards, next step is to cut the length. And the way I work out the units, I build them so the bottom of the unit, there is the sides, and the top of the unit is like a lid. So that's how I do the units. So the bottom top is the same size, and the sides are the same size. And also, if you imagine you've got your legs on, so rather than sometimes units come when they're fitted through the sides, so you're only relying on a bottom piece and on a dowels and screws which hold the unit together. But this way you ensure that all weight goes down onto the legs. So that's why I'm making the units only that way, not having the sides going past the bottom, which you can see in Howden's units and all the other sort of kitchens and stuff. Probably IKEA again, most of them do it so the sides are longer and screw in. I do it opposite. I do so the bottom piece is one big piece which takes everything. It's like a foundation, if you like. So that's how I do it. And also that allows me to cut as a pair each. So I can cut the length and the sides from this piece. Next step for us is to cut the backs or groove for the back, and I usually put 6mm back in, and I allow 27mm because the cutter is 6mm, and what that gives me, I got 27mm there. So it's 21 when it's outed. What that allows me to put is put a bars for fixing the unit onto the wall, which I'll show you as we carry on. So you need to do both sides. Just make sure you do it right way around. So sides. And then you need to do the bottom and the top. Top gonna have to be cut off 27mm to allow for the back to slide in. I will sand all the edges when needed. So I'll sand each side the carcass, then I will sand the edges. After sanding, we're going to cut the back fit, but before that we're going to assemble the unit to make sure that we get the right measurement. So that's our next step, is sanding it and cut the assemble it and cut the back. So next step is to measure the back, which you can do when it's assembled or before it's assembled. I'll do it now. So the depth of our groove is 6mm. I'll allow the depth is 5 just to give that wiggle room. What you can do, you can mark 18mm on edges. That's all upright. And then you measure in 5mm there. Then measure from line to line. So 84. So I'll cut the back 84 wide or long. And height will be length of the side plus 5mm for the bottom for this part where it goes in, and plus thickness of the material you're using less 2mm. So in my case it's 60.4 plus 5, 60.9 plus 18, or say 16. 625. So that's my back. I'll cut that before because I don't have too much room here. So I'll do it before assembly. Once we got the back cut, we start assembly. Sometimes you might have to assemble it in the actual room. This time I'll do it here because the room is carpeted, obviously it's not as easy. I'll just do it here because I should be able to carry it. So when you're drilling MDF or any material really, what I tend to do, I tend to go about 40mm of gauge just to save it from splitting. The next step, once we screwed the back on, obviously before you screw it on, check diagonals. You know, you want to be within a millimeter at least, because obviously you are relying on your square to cut square, etc, etc. So you know, it might not be 100%, but as long as it is within a millimeter, you should be okay. So next step, what I do, I put a bar here, which is just a bit of 18mm stuck down. I use super glue to stick it down. I also use super glue to stick back on, and then I use a adhesive in a gun, like a mastic type adhesive, just to stick it down really, so it's held in a position, so to stop it from moving around. So yeah, that's how I do it anyway, but you not necessarily need to do it. But this bar I would suggest to fit, because you know, when you wanna fixing, you know you're gonna have fixing anywhere, and it's gonna be quite solid because you've got a thick bit of support at the back. Also, when you have a bigger units, like tall units, so over 2 meters or 2 meter units, I would suggest you put one in the middle just in case you want to fix it, because quite often the back bows out, which means it pushes your shells in, and obviously it's not a neat finish. Or you might just have a fixing in the middle rather than top, so it gives you, you know, it gives you strength for the unit itself, so it's more rigid, and also it's a better fixing for your unit. So yeah, I'll crack on. I get a slither stuck on here, as I said, I use spray glue, use activator. I'll stick this on, just make sure, double check all the measurements, they're correct, as moved. Stick the bar in, and then lastly we're gonna put legs on. So when I set up the legs, what I do, I put 60 of the edge, 60 down, that's on the back, and then I do 60 on the side, 55 on the front, to get that plinth slightly back of the front legs of the front of the unit. And I always fit it like so. So my first screw is the center screw of the leg, and then back goes in, and so I do the same way, facing this bit facing in into the unit. So that's how I do it, but I'm not going to fit it here. What I'll do, I've just drilled it. I'll take these up to the top, and I'll fit them on whilst they're in the room. Reason being, it's easier for me to carry the unit up, so I don't get caught anyway. So yeah, so unit pretty much is built. Mostly we're gonna have to do doors, etc. But you know, that's basically how you build a unit. And obviously you can scale it up if you got to build bigger units. Yeah, remember, you're gonna need bars to fit, A for fixings, and if you got tall unit, you wanna put one in the middle. You can use it as for fixings and to get the back straight, because it will wanna warp. So it's a win-win for you, and usually you got offcuts anyway. So if you say have 18mm, you can use slithers offcuts to do that, or if you got 19mm veneer, you can use that. Just adjust this distance, like for your veneered one. So even if you have a 27, like I've done here, from the edge in the groove, that should be enough. As you can see here, we got a little step. It'll be slightly less, but still there will be a step, and you know, it shouldn't affect your back. And yeah, so basically that's that really. Hope you found it useful, and I'll catch up with you in the next video.